Hey, what's going on, card collectors? Ken with Ken's Cardboard, and I have another video for you today. Today we're going to talk about some Dodgers from the 70s, and I know I got some pictures of Jackie Robinson on the Dodgers when they were in Brooklyn, but this is about the LA Dodgers from the 70s. This is the 1975 set that I picked up from eBay, and just another trying to pick up the Dodgers team sets from the 70s and 60s, and slowly doing that as I go along. Every once in a while I pick up a set here and there, keep my eye on it. Before I was a Rockies fan, which they came about in 1993. I grew up in Southern California, went to many Dodgers games, and I wasn't really a Dodgers fan, but my dad was a Dodgers fan. At the time, I was a Cincinnati Reds fan because I liked Pete Rose, and I was a Phillies fan because Rose played for the Phillies. So I didn't really have an allegiance to a team when I grew up when I was a kid, but the Dodgers have some great history, have some good memories going to the games back when I was a kid. So I decided to pick up some Dodgers cards. So let's look at the 1975 set. So the 1975 set depicts the 1974 team. In 1974, Walter Alston was a manager of the Dodgers. The Dodgers were 102-60. They ended up first place in the National League, and they beat the Pirates in the National League pennant, and then lost to the Oakland A's in the World Series. So that was led by Walter Alston. This is before the Tommy Lasorda era. Their starting catcher was Mr. Steve Yeager. I'm not too crazy about the orange and brown looking design of the cards, but these are complete 70s for sure. Starting at first base, we had All-Star Steve Garvey, one of 5 All-Stars on the Dodgers team that year in the 1974. Second base, Davey Lopes. They got the brown and orange. This time they got the orange on the bottom. The Dodgers team to get the brown and orange and red and yellow as their team colors in this 75 set. Davey Lopes, stolen base threat. These cards back in, get some focus here. The cards back in 75 didn't depict stolen bases on the back. Only had at bats, hits, doubles, triples, home runs, RBI, and average. The old school stats. And I can't remember how many stolen bases he had. Starting at shortstop, and this is, I don't think it's the start of the run of the Dodgers infield, but we had Bill Russell, another brown and orange card. Slightly off center, but maybe one day I'll replace some of these, but it's just cool to have them in the collection. Another second All-Star on the team is Ron Cey at third base, the Penguin. Like the little, got the wax stain on the back, that's cool. I forgot to show you on the back of this that the person who's had this checked them all off. That's awesome. That's what I used to do when I had my cards back in the day. Check the boxes on the checklist. That's awesome. Starting in the right field was Willie Crawford, typically. In the outfield, center field, we had another All-Star, Jim Wynn. Now, maybe you guys haven't heard of Jim Wynn or don't know much about him, but he led the team in WAR that year at 7.7 WAR. Shout out to my buddy Clint, who's the WAR Ranger, who hates the stat WAR. Wins above replacement if you're not familiar, but he had 32 home runs that season, and I think he had 108 RBI. Yeah, 108 RBI. But he led the team in that category in home runs. Steve Garvey led the team in hits with 200 and also 111 RBI. Center, Jim Wynn led center, was a center fielder, and then we had Bill Buckner in left field. This one's slightly off center. Look at that. Cool to have these cards. The starting pitching rotation, got the infamous Al Downing, who gave up Hank Aaron's record-breaking home run. Then we had Tommy John, famous for his surgery that he has that everybody seems to get this year, or in these years at least. Every pitcher who has any type of career ends up getting Tommy John, it seems. There we go, Tommy John. Then we had Don Sutton, Hall of Famer. And Sutton was 19-9 that season, but he was not an All-Star for the Dodgers. Then we got Charlie Huff. And then we got Andy Messersmith, was also an All-Star. He was also the starting pitcher of the All-Star game, and he had a 20-6 record for the Dodgers in 1974. And 13 complete games, 221 strikeouts. What's interesting about Andy is him and Dave McNally, when they went to do their contract in 1974, at the end of the 74 season, they decided that they didn't like the reserve clause and they should have control of their own destiny. And so they played on like a 1-year reserve clause thing in 1975, the only two players who did that. So I think, Kurt Flood was the guy that kind of broke the straw, but these two guys, McNally and Messersmith, are kind of ones that were starting the deal here with trying to control their own destiny. So that's a little bit of story about Andy Messersmith, who had a decent career. I think he was a 5-time All-Star, played for the Angels, a little bit for the Yankees. Yep. Then we had Mike Marshall. He was the closer on the team. He also had 15 wins. Stud. Dodgers must have had a bunch of comeback wins. 15-12. Plus, they didn't put saves on here, but 143 strikeouts. And did they put innings pitched? Nope. No innings pitched. He led the National League with 21 saves, though. Boom. That's back in the day when pitchers would pitch 3 innings to get a save. Jeff Zahn, that is one of the relief pitchers they put in the set in 75, along with Jim Brewer and Doug Rao. Backup catcher was Joe Ferguson. Here's some infielders: Rick Auerbach, Lee Lacy. He had a long career. I think he played for the Pirates. Shout out to John Mangini. Ken McMullen. I don't recognize this name. But he played a long time in the major leagues. Dodgers, Senators, Angels, Dodgers. Vaughn Joshua. I remember seeing him play. Tom Paciorek. And Manny Mota, at one time the all-time pinch hit leader. So there you go. That's Topps' version of the Dodgers. That was the set that they put together. They had a good season that year. Ended up losing the World Series to the A, as I mentioned. The only Hall of Famer on that team was Don Sutton, but some other good players like Say and Garvey had some good careers. So thanks for stopping by. Thought I'd make another video. Summertime is here, right? Baseball's in the thick of it, and keep watching the races. It's a very interesting season with some of the teams at the top who you don't usually see, like the Cincinnati Reds. What is going on in Cincinnati? And the Arizona Diamondbacks, they're just killing it out in the West. Yep. The Baltimore Orioles, wow, how are they doing it? Awesome. Anyways, thanks for watching. Peace out.